Welcome, everybody, out there to Don't Pick the Scab Podcast, episode 129. Today we have Nicole Harrington, and I'm honored to have her here. She's an inspiring business owner, animal lover, and mental health advocate whose story is both powerful and deeply relatable. Having journeyed through trauma and daily depression, Nicole has developed unique skills for her noticing and navigating her own feelings, turning what many see as a setback into a resource for growth and empowerment. She believes in the power of curiosity around our emotions and encourages others to find evidence in their own lives so they can truly have everything they want. Nicole's approach weaves together her personal experiences, the life-changing impacts of nutrition, especially micronutrients, and a focus on evidence, identity, and narrative as the pillars of transformation. Through her story, Nicole offers hope, practical tools, and a refreshing perspective on embracing depression as part of the human experience, all while balancing work, family, and self-care. My big thing, self-care, I told you. So introduce yourself, Nicole, and we'll go from there. Got some questions for you.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, I'm Nicole Harrington. Yeah, my three pillars are evidence, narrative, and identity. Those are the things that I've found have helped me with my growth. Yeah.
Can you share your story of going through trauma and how it shaped your life to where you are now?
Yes. So at a very early age, I was very active. In high school, going back to high school, I was a water polo captain, as well as I had a job coaching swimming. Coaching was my first job. So I still find myself coaching. So yeah, I was very active. And then I went straight into college where I didn't take anything less than 20 units, which is a minimum around 5-6 classes. And I also had a job. So I was very active, very busy. And once I got out of college, I was planning on going to grad school. I really hung on to that dream for a little too long. I applied for 6 years and never got in. Once, that was obviously not going to happen. And I had to drop everything I'd been working for the last 4 years in college, 6 years applying for grad school. I had to redirect. And I found myself really depressed. I wasn't where I wanted to be. I had this vision of where I wanted to go, and it wasn't going to happen any longer. I was working customer service jobs. Yeah, I found myself in a depression where I had very bad habits of do you know those people who just like to talk about themselves? I loved hanging out with those people because I could just sit and listen and I didn't have to share. I found myself in bad relationships and bad habits of drinking and smoking marijuana and like every day consistently. And I ended up getting put on medication for my depression. And that also just numbed out everything. The medication, it takes away the depression, but it also gives you symptoms like suicidal thoughts. The medication actually gives you these things and symptoms of depression even. Yeah, the medication will take away one thing, but it also take away the good. Yeah, I just found myself with a lot of things that were numbing my pain. And that's where I am today. I'm unlearning all of those unhealthy habits and redirecting my life to be more in control of being able to do what I want in a healthy way.
I'm curious,
Yeah.
what role does curiosity play in your approach to managing depression?
Yeah, curiosity is so important. I think when we're diagnosed with depression or any of these diagnosed mental health diagnoses, that it causes us to stop being curious. The doctors want to have an explanation for us. So they diagnose you're depressed. And then I stopped being curious. I stopped thankfully I never wanted to be on medication. So it was something that I really pushed to not be on medication. And that caused me a lot of trouble as well, because once you're on the medication, it's hard to get off of them. And nobody really talks about that. And doctors don't even really understand how to get off. Yeah, once you get diagnosed, you stay curious, because them just labeling us with these diagnoses, it sometimes causes us to stop being curious because, oh, we have an explanation. We understand what we're going through. Oh, I'm just depressed and I have to be on this medication for the rest of my life. Curiosity is so important. That's a great question. Thank you.
How did nutrition, let's knock it all out. How did nutrition, especially micronutrients, impact your mental health, or how does it?
Yes, I very much am now understanding that I was just deficient. I didn't have the nutrients. What I was eating at the time, I was just eating the same thing every day, and it wasn't supporting my body the way it needs to. We're all deficient, I believe. Everyone has their own story, but the micronutrients can help everyone, is what I now believe. Yeah, now I'm taking micronutrients and I'm recognizing that the depression, as much as that is how my life looked, and it came from all of my bad habits, but it also came from a micronutrient deficiency.
What is a micronutrient? What, for example?
Yeah. It's the supplement that I take. It has, I'm not a doctor, but it has like iron, magnesium, iodine, like all these good things. Those are, what is it called? I'm forgetting. But yeah, it has a bunch of the vitamin. Those are minerals.
Mineral, kind of like elements.
Yes. Yeah. The vitamins are like vitamin C, vitamin D, like those kinds of things. Yeah, are all in this micronutrient that I take now.
Can you walk us through the moment you realized that things could get better? What was that, that aha moment? How was that aha moment?
Yeah, I found a support group. I am a coach myself, so I, of course, have my own coach. And I finally found a support group that taught me about micronutrients, taught me that depression isn't my fault. It's just a bad scenario. It's bad habits, like I mentioned, like not enough micronutrients, smoking too much. Smoking has now been known to cause like mania. It's all these bad habits, and finding that support group that now I go to it every single week. I don't miss a week, and they help remind me that I am worth it. It's very hard getting out of the mud, getting out of a situation that's difficult, that you're sitting in your dirty diaper and everything around you everyone you're hanging out with maybe is just complaining and has these bad habits as well. I don't know if I was drinking a lot. So all of where I was going and what I was doing involved drinking. So getting out of that situation is very hard to do, actually. And that's the 3 pillars that I mentioned at the beginning: identity, narrative, and evidence. Those are the things you have to shift in order to get your life back on track. And it's difficult. You really have to change your entire life. And having a support group is very helpful.
When you were having that aha moment, did you have to redistribute your friend group? You know what I mean?
Totally. Yes. Yeah, like I mentioned, I was hanging out with people who just like to talk about themselves, and I could hide in my little shell and just be numb to it all. Yeah, I really had to change everything about my life. I quit my job, which I understand not everyone's able to do, but like I really, yeah, I was in a rock and a hard place. I was stuck. And I'm still getting out of it. Like, habits are hard to break. I'm still writing my story. I'm still breaking those habits, because I just realized it's been like 10 years. For a large chunk of that, I was smoking consistently every day. We have ways of coping.
Yeah.
that create this bad habit. It's also about like sequencing habits. I get home from work and I sit down on the couch and I watch TV and I have a beer, right? Those sequences of habits is what causes it to be so difficult. Then every time I'm sitting on the couch, I'm like, oh, where's my beer? Yeah, we have to give ourselves some grace and allow ourselves time to process and to heal.
How do you balance being a business owner, animal lover, and taking care of your needs? And what kind of an animal?
Yeah, I have 4 cats.
Wow.
I'm
That
a
lady.
business
All right.
Yeah, I'm also a wife. I have love animals.
Balance all that.
Yeah, yes. I work with my husband, so that's helpful that I still get to see him. We spend a lot of time together and yeah, how do I balance it? I think I only take on as much as I can handle. Our business started in this January, so it's a slow moving pace, which often sometimes I'm like, I could take on so much more. I almost wish that I had more to do, but I also recognize that this is the pace that I'm really doing so much things too. I'm in the process of getting off my medication, which is a huge deal. It's taken me over a year to titrate off. Yeah, as much as like sometimes I often find myself like wishing I was farther along, but we're going at the pace that we can handle and appreciating every day and enjoying the journey is really how being present in the moment is another way to not feel overwhelmed when you have a lot of things going on.
I think that lends itself for me is just enjoying. You talked about giving yourself grace. Also, just enjoying the baby steps, the small wins. Everything can't be a big win. If you wake up in the morning, that's a win. If you wake up in the morning and don't cry, that's another win. We don't realize those small wins that we don't see the forest for the trees, basically.
Yes.
What does self-care look like what does self-care look for you? Here we go again. What does self-care look like for you on a tough day? How do you practice self-care?
Yes. Self-care for me also looks like reminding myself I'm worth it, reminding myself that I can have all these nice things. Like self-care because it's so easy to fall back into the old habits that aren't treating me.
So much.
I really still am dealing with all of this. So I have to remind myself of the vision of what can happen if I get through the forest and get through breaking all these bad habits and coping mechanisms that are unhealthy. So self-care really looks like when if I'm struggling more than usual, then do something for myself. I like to take a bath and on those most difficult days, I'll light a candle too. Like I'll try and do something to make it a little extra special for myself on those most difficult days.
Yeah. Got an interesting question for you, and
Yeah.
I'm not even sure how this works. How can, or if, or even can someone reframe depression as something that can be good?
Yes. Thank you. That's a great question because yes, I use depression as a resource now. And what I mean by that is when those depression thoughts or feelings are coming up, it's a sign that something is off. Like something needs to be addressed. So maybe like I've had some really busy days and I find myself depressed. Maybe that's because excuse me, maybe I need to take a step back and take some time off and have a relaxing day, refocus on myself. Maybe I just need to sleep a little bit extra. Maybe my body needs more rest, and that's why the depression is showing up. There's some reason it's there. Yeah.
Can we talk about the pillars of evidence, identity, and narrative? Exactly what are those?
Yeah, thank you for asking that question. So, evidence, narrative, and identity. Let's start with narrative. So, the narrative is, what are you telling yourself? What is the story you keep repeating? Like a little silly example is like, I used to say I'm bad at names. What are you repeating to yourself? Oh, I'm not good at that. And that's the narrative. That's your narrative. If I'm keep repeating that I'm bad at names, guess what? I'm going to be bad at names because we don't want to be wrong. Nobody wants to be wrong. So the things that you keep repeating are going to keep showing up in your life. So that's the narrative. Really rethink about almost everything. We have to rewrite everything sometimes when we're stuck. I'm always consistently working on this. So yeah, think about what are the things that you keep repeating in your life. That's the narrative, and redirect that into something positive and uplifting. The evidence piece is, so now that I'm going to stop saying I'm bad at names, now I need the evidence that I'm really not bad at names. So, for example, for me, I was the head coach of the local swim team. That's 100 kids plus both their parents. I really had to be good at names. And this is when I stopped saying that story. And I trusted that I could be good at names, and I proved that I was good at names by memorizing everybody's name. This is just a fun example, but yeah, we need the evidence to prove our story. Otherwise, we're just blowing smoke. And then the last piece is identity, and that's reframing who you want to be. You're the one in control. Oftentimes I feel like I'm out of control. The depression takes over and it feels like I'm not in control. The want for alcohol or weed takes over and I don't feel like I'm in control. So who do I want to be? Really define your why. Define what it is. Why are you doing this? And that becomes your new identity. Who do you want to be? You're in control.
Okay. What advice would you give to someone who feels stuck in their depression?
Yeah, like I mentioned, there's a reason that it's there, right? So give yourself space to be depressed. It's okay. Don't do anything. Sometimes depression comes with suicidal thoughts, and don't do anything drastic. If you're in that place, then reach out for help. But if you're feeling depression, then it's okay. Let your body tell you what it's trying to tell you. Let yourself take a deep breath and feel the depression, feel what's coming up. And that's why this work is so difficult, is because sometimes we sit and suddenly my mind is racing and I can't get a beat. Like sometimes that's where we are, and it can take some time and grace to allow yourself. And that's why sometimes depression shows up, is because I've been ignoring something, or I need something. So what is it that you need?
Yeah. You were talking about suicide back when I was going through my divorce, and I was depressed and just strung out. And I tell people that you hit that lowest point you've never been, and you don't think about killing yourself, but you're thinking about just make the pain stop. Maybe if I wasn't here. And that's how that train starts to pick up speed. So that's very true. Very true. How do animals influence your daily well-being and mental health? How those 4 cats look you up?
Oh my gosh, I love my cats. Like I went after I moved out into call it from graduating high school to college, I didn't have any animals around me. So it's been like 10 years that I didn't have any animals in my life. So now I'm just like obsessed with them. They seriously just petting their soft fur and taking a moment. They really help me take a moment of a break, enjoy, their purring, or it helps me stay present when I'm with them. I love animals so much. So
There you go. How can listeners begin to support themselves with curiosity instead of criticism? How can you differentiate and go different ways with those two?
yeah, we talked about feeling suicidal, and that I feel like is connected with this question because sometimes, like I said, I used to hide in my shell. Like I didn't want to be seen because I don't want to cause anyone any harm, or I didn't want to be a burden on anyone. If you're a burden on someone, you're hanging out with the wrong people. This is, again, feeling like a burden on someone is, and not wanting to be seen. I love your question because, yeah, switch that into curiosity. Transition that into curiosity. Why do I feel unworthy? Why really dig into this is the identity piece of really who do you want to be? If you're in a place where you're feeling stuck, yeah, get curious and find a good support system. I don't know if I answered that question.
No, you did. You did. You did. What are some of the biggest myths about depression that you like to challenge? Because there's a lot of myths out there. There's got to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are some of the most common ones?
Yeah. Do you have any that come to mind? I think depression just needs medication. You just need to be on medication, and that it's actually a micronutrient deficiency is a big one. Yeah, that's the biggest one, is that you don't have to be on medication. You can, which it takes a lot of support. So I keep finding a community and finding support because it's hard to get out of that stuck in the mud.
Yeah. I think another one is I hear that only weak people have depression because they have weak mind.
No, it is so hard living with depression. Like the strongest people have depression because, yeah, to deal with that, it is so difficult. You're really stuck in the mud. You're in quicksand. And the only way to get out of quicksand is stop moving.
Didn't Michael Phelps deal with that? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, there have been some athletes who've come out.
Okay. That have been coming out. So how can someone start to, like, a guy's going through a divorce, his identity takes a hit. How can he start to rebuild that identity? What are some of the easy ways, soft ways, small wins that he can rebuild that identity?
Yeah, rebuilding your identity. That's why I have the 3 pillars, evidence and narrative. So, yeah, by rebuilding your narrative and by finding that evidence, that's how you can also help build your identity. Yeah.
How can you, and one of my last questions is, how can you evaluate progress coming out of or switching out of your depression? How can you
love this question. Thank you. Yes, because it is so important to keep score. If you're not keeping score, then you don't know how well you're doing. You don't know how, like, for example, I mentioned being a swim coach. I've always been a swimmer. And now I find it hard to get in the water because it's so cold. But I do get in the water. And if I didn't keep track of how often I'm getting in the water, then I would feel like I never get in the water. If you're not keeping score of how you're doing or the positive things that you're putting into your life, going to the gym, if you're keeping score, I'm going to the gym. I got to the gym 3 times this week. You feel like you should have gone 5, but 3 out of 5 actually isn't that bad, but it can feel like you're not doing a good job if you don't keep score.
Yeah, I hear you. What about those days we have setbacks? 2 step forward, 1 step back. How do you address that to people?
Yes. I think it's a way of life. There's always going to be challenges, especially as a business owner. Sometimes I'm in the process of doing something, probably dealing with taxes or something. No, just kidding. And I feel like I can't figure it out. I'm in it and I'm getting frustrated. That can be a setback. And that's when I do step back. If you're in a situation where you're getting frustrated or something is difficult or even an argument, sometimes it takes just taking a moment and taking a deep breath. Go use the restroom. I don't know. Take a moment for yourself. Go get some coffee. Take a break in those difficult moments. And that can help you. Yeah. Do you have something to say?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, just taking a step back can really help you re-look at the problem with fresh eyes.
Was it you that said that you believe everyone can have everything they want? That was you.
I don't think so, but I love that.
Hey, never mind. We'll just edit that out. Would you tell someone that feels hopeless after divorce, if you can give one message of hope to men out there struggling with depression right now, what would it be?
Yes. I think focusing on feeling worthy, I have touched on that a little bit, but you are worthy. You are unique. This world needs you. It needs me in it. There's a place in this world for you. There's a reason that you're here. There's a reason that you're going through this, because on the other side of it, you're going to have a great story. Maybe you're going to start being on podcasts. Maybe your story will touch someone, or maybe there's a reason that you're going through whatever it is right now. And getting through it is going to make you stronger and more resilient and better for potentially your kids, your family.
Nicole, thank you very much, man. You really, I don't want to say enticed, but you got me thinking about depression. And this was my like I said before, this is my first depression podcast. So there you go. You're a unicorn.
Yay. Thank you for having me.
You come. So where can my men find you on the internet?
Yeah, I wanted to make it as easy as possible. So Nicole Coaching G, all one word, no spaces, is my handle on everything. On Instagram, I'm mainly on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. My website is also NicoleCoachingG.com. My email is support@NicoleCoachingG.com. Everything is Nicole Coaching G.
All right. Once again, we appreciate you taking time on this Friday morning, but thank you very much. That was very insightful.
Thank you, David.